2 in the morning right now, and about to get some late night dinner or really, really early breakfast. Thanks for inviting me out here, Billy. It's nice to be able to have, a sit-down place and eat hot pot this hour.
Yeah, in Taiwan, there's so many things that you can do. Even after late night, after 12 o'clock, there's sauerkraut, sukiyakis, hot pots, Japanese food, anything.
You told me there was a durian ice cream here, right?
I know, but I cannot try the durian. The smell alone just keep me away.
How about let's both try it later?
Sure, we will talk about that later.
We just played in that
a couple of weeks ago, yes.
Yeah.
SNG, yeah. I was kind of crazy though.
I got so lucky playing that actually, the way I won it.
Yeah.
So I played 3 of them. We played the first one together, and then the following week I played another one, and I just busted out quickly on the second 2, but I got lucky on the first one.
What's the most memorable hand that or the one you won?
Man,
it's just so many.
I just got so lucky. Like, I won a huge pot with kings against queens.
Yeah.
And that hand allowed me to advance.
Was it pre-flop?
Yeah, it was all done pre-flop.
Okay.
Yeah, and it happened at a blind level where my opponent, who had queens, had no choice but to go all in. Like it was just the right stack level where there wasn't much that he could do. And I think that's the thing about quick structured tournaments, like the quick blind levels when they go up, is that there's a lot of spots where like they didn't do any wrong. It's just like they're just playing.
Yeah. It's very different from the deep stack cash game poker, right? The strategies.
Yeah. Oh man, it's tough.
I know, I'm so full. You?
Very full, very satisfied. So when's the next tournament you're playing?
Thursday. Day 1. Yeah.
I feel like every time I text you, like, Billy, what are you up to? Like, hey,
I'm in the tournament. But I don't play too much cash games, and I don't know too much difference about, the 2. And I know you play mostly cash.
Yeah.
What do you think about the difference, or, what do you think?
Cash is it's honestly just a different form of poker. The structure, for me personally, I feel like the structure makes all the decisions kind of forced. I think in a tournament, there's a lot of situations where your decisions are kind of automatic. There's not really that much room for you to do anything else.
Yeah.
And so your decision is like pretty black and white. Whereas in a cash game, I feel like decisions are almost never black and white. You could do this or you could do that. But a lot of times, like in a tournament, I feel like people will ask you like, well, how many big blinds did you have? When's the next level jump? How much time? What was your stack size compared to your opponents?
Yeah.
And then given those variables, your decision is going to be, a given. Whereas in a cash game, your decision making is based on so many other things that you wouldn't have to consider.
So there's a lot more room for you to be creative, right? That's what you're saying.
There's a lot more room for somebody to make really, really, really big errors. Whereas in a tournament, like if they have 50 big blinds, 40 big blinds, like
you can't.
Yeah,
there's too much, and I think the players may be a lot more controlled, like in the decision that they do make.
If you're like a 60% favorite against somebody and they're 40%, in a cash game you would always take that gamble, because you're a favorite. But I feel like in a tournament you might give up that spot, even though you're a 60% favorite, because you have to consider like ICM, right? And you have to consider when's the next pay jump, and because your tournament life is everything, right? Whereas in a cash game, you can afford to take a 60% and lose, just rebuy, right? So I also think that in cash games, personally for me, I feel like you can play a little bit looser. I find myself in tournaments where I want to play certain hands, but I just fold because there's no stack depth for me to play. Honestly, it's painful for me to fold those type of hands.
For me, because I never really touched the game of cash game, so I never really understand the real strategy behind it. But now you talk about it, I think that's a huge difference.
Yeah, and another huge difference that you got to think about is that in a tournament you're playing with players that you might not ever see again, or they might not end up being on the same table with you ever again, right? But in a cash game, at least for the games I'm in, I play with these same guys over and over, and there's so much just layers of psychology and leveling that comes with that slowly, that builds history. And so when you're in hand with them, that's a huge factor. So that's one of the bigger differences too. Like people watch Live the Bike and then they see certain hands and they don't understand why certain players are doing certain
things. I don't understand a lot of hands you play.
Yeah, I think But honestly, for me, there's nothing more that I love than just having the entire table very deep.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get the rush of a cash game in the sense of that kind of environment where everybody's gambling, everybody's deep. There's multiple people steaming and stuck.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to win, and there's a certain energy there that doesn't exist in the tournament. That I just I love.
Yeah, I understand.
Cash game. Yeah, and you can't get that online too. It's usually in a live setting. You've been sitting with the same guys for 10 hours straight.
Yeah.
And so much money on the table. It's just like
it's very different.
Yeah, I'm sure that when you started playing poker in Taiwan here, like when you got introduced to it, you recognized right away that there's skill, and that's what attracted you about the game, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That there's skill involved.
There's so much skill. I mean, before I touched poker, I was just thinking, okay, I got pocket aces. Okay, it's all in. I just paid everybody out. But now I learn about the positions, the blinds, the bet sizes, the lines. Even though we can make in the same action, but the way we think may be totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I feel like poker in Taiwan is still generally considered gambling, and it's still frowned upon by the majority of especially like older generation.
It is true.
Okay.
I think it's mostly just stereotype. Anything to do with cards.
Right.
Cards is gamble.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how you cut it.
Okay.
Even though we say there's no money involved or just chips, just buyings, but people just it's cards, so it's gambling. And I think it's going to take a long time for really traditional community to really think about, this is actually a sport. It's not just a game. It takes a lot of time, energy, the brain power, a lot of thinking.
You sweat a lot.
You sweat a lot, exactly. That's why I always put my mask on. So I think this is it's very different. I think you must have noticed a lot of people in Taiwan or at CDP maybe.
Right.
A lot of younger people are playing.
Okay.
But fewer older people.
Yeah.
It's always like 20, 25, 30 years old, and they're all very smart people.
Right.
They're all from maybe statistics, mathematics, engineering, finance backgrounds.
Right.
But the poker scene definitely in Taiwan is definitely growing. It's definitely growing. And then in the future, maybe someday we'll see legal cash game going. And maybe that's the time for you to really
I'm gonna have to come back here.
I know you must. Yeah.
About to get some durian ice cream. For those that don't know, durian is like a very, very stinky fruit. Stinks so bad.
Stinky ice cream.
This really stinks. It's terrible.
Oh, I need to try it. Now you can say I tried the durian ice cream in Taiwan.